was after my godfather was killed. It was the era of the new boss, Philip Tester, who I really liked. He wound up getting killed. His son wound up getting killed. I mean, Philly, really violent town. But anyway, we had the biggest inner city restaurant. We had Toronto's. We seated 300 just upstairs in our dinner theater. So I didn't stay too long. I got a drink, and there was 3 entrances, 3 ways to get in and out. I went out to one side, on 11th Street side. As soon as I hit the curve, a van jumps on the sidewalk, door slides back, and the pagans kidnapped me. They grabbed me, throw me in a van.
Who were the pagans?
The pagans, I knew the original guys that started the pagans. They were friends of mine. These motorcycle gangs have different chapters in different cities. And there was the Philly chapter, so I came out, they threw me in a van. But I knew I wasn't with the smartest guys in the world, because one guy had a vest of dynamite strapped to him. And he had one cloudy eye, and I said, oh my God, what do I got here? And he's got a kill switch with sticks of dynamite. They said, well, your people started a war with us. I said, all right, okay, I understand that. But I need everyone to do one thing. What's that? Shut your beepers off. If your beeper goes off, you can set that kill switch off, and we're all dead. They pulled up about a block, and I said, what are you doing? They didn't have nowhere to take me. I said, you kidnapping me. You tell her there's a war. You don't even have a place to take me? I said, all right. I said, listen, I got another restaurant up the street. We can go to the banquet room. So I took them up there. I said, he ain't coming. I'm not bringing him in my restaurant with that. That's the people having dinner downstairs. That thing blows up. We're going to kill innocent people. So I says, leave him in the van. And I'm praying. I'm saying, I hope it goes off. This nut. I sent for my father. He came in. We sent for the real heavyweights back in them days. Were the Elizabeth, New Jersey chapter of the pagans. They were the real killers. They were killers. You know, they worked with the Newark mob. So they came and we straightened it out. It was all lies.
Were you scared?
Well, it's either they're going to kill you or they don't. So, you know, the only thing was bothering me, if I get blown up, what are they going to do? Have my coffin a cigar box? You know, how am I going to have a service for my mother and my wife and kids? That's what bothered me. You know, don't blow me up in little pieces. We had so much going on in Philly. We had so many restaurants. I was too well known. I couldn't go anywhere without some story getting back. So, you know, young, and I wouldn't do it today, but I was young and stupid. You know, you want to go to New York and let your hair down, you know what I mean? So, but back in them days, people don't know this. If you were a mob guy, if you from a mob family, which I was, you could not go to a town unless you declared yourself. You just couldn't go hang out in New York. When I went to New York, I had to tell them I'm in town, and they gave you somebody to see, and you see him, okay, and he would tell that word to that family. But in New York, even when I went to Chicago, same thing. I had to touch base. You just can't. A capable guy just can't pull up in a town. They don't know why you're there. They don't know if you're there to rob somebody, shoot somebody. They don't know. So I go see my guy in Newark. I says, I'm gonna get a spot in New York. You know what I mean? And they gave me an area. They said, you can't leave the garment district. That's your area, the garment district. We don't want to see you at Mulberry Street. We don't want to see you in the Brooklyn. We don't want to see you in the Bronx. That's your area. I said, all right. So every time you come in, you let me know. I'll let them know you're here. And then when you leave, you let me know. So I get a beautiful suite at this boutique hotel. Now you need a car. So I buy a white Cadillac limo. And what I liked about the boutique hotel, I didn't have to get a garage. So I let the doorman use the limo. I said, when I'm out of town, you keep it clean, keep it maintenance. So I got free parking in front of the hotel. And then when I would come in, it would be mine. But I did no business, just enjoying myself. If I'm in New York having fun, I'm really having fun. So what I did is I went and ran an apartment on top of a friend of mine's bar. It was like a loft. And I put all mirrors on one wall. I put 3 vanities in there. And I put 6 bunk beds, the wide bunk beds. And I filled it up with free, you live for free, you had to be a lingerie model. So I got one lingerie model. Now, within 2 weeks' time, I got 12 beautiful lingerie models living for free in Manhattan. I tell them, now listen, every one of you, listen. You got a boyfriend, you want to be with a guy, you go where he's at. You don't bring nobody in here, you understand? And you just keep it clean. Now, when I come to town, you're welcome to hang out with me. Go to dinner, go dance, and take the girls here. And I would walk in, and I see some of the mob guys, I know. He says, look at this guy. I walk in with a dozen beautiful girls. They say, I said, I don't know. They hear them in town, and they just come. They don't know. I'm paying to keep them in an apartment. So, but I got to go to California. And I told my limousine guy, you need anything, you go see my guy Jackie. I said, don't do no business. While I'm going, he goes and gets Jackie. They hook up, and they're starting selling coke all over New York. And you know who they were selling a lot of coke to? Johnny Carson, when he was shooting in New York. All the people that worked on his set. So I get back. Hey, boss, it was so good to see you, boss. How you been? I had a lot of feeling. These guys are too happy. They're too happy. I said, what's up? Oh, we did good while you were gone. I said, what did you do? What do you mean you did good? Well, we moved a lot of coke. We got your end. I said, you what? Yeah, we got your end. I said, what's my end? They said $300,000. I said, you just signed my death warrant. I gave my word that I wasn't going to do business here. You just signed my death warrant. So now I got to go see my guy. I tell him the truth. I said, I got money. These guys made money. I said, oh, man, you're going to get me in trouble now. So he makes the meeting, and I go see a boss. There's a boss, the boss, the biggest boss. Paul. I went to see Paul. And I told him the truth. I said, Paul, I've been here, respected, didn't do any business. These knuckleheads, they went and did this. What am I going to do? I got 300. He says, okay. I don't want you in New York no more. I don't want you in New York unless it's really through the family's businesses. In other words, if we go to a wedding, a funeral, you're done. I don't want you in New York. He says, where's the 300? I said, it's in the car. He says, all right, bring me 80. Go, give me 80. Go give something to my guy. I think I gave him 20. So I gave 100 away. I finally get all that done. I just want to get out of New York.